I'm Lisa LeVasseur, and this is Bryce Simpson. We're here from Internet Safety Labs, and we've been running a pilot project we call Safetypedia, where we've been crowdsourcing privacy inspections. And I want to just start off acknowledging a key team member who could not be here today. Many of you probably know them. Irene Knapp was unable to be here due to safety concerns traveling across the border. So we're with a bit of a heavy heart that they're not here with us, but maybe here in spirit.
Thank you, Lisa. So for this presentation, we're going to cover three main areas: understanding what our safety label is, we'll talk about the pilot program for Safetypedia, and then we'll discuss our findings so far. So let's take a look at a safety label. If you haven't seen this before, or you aren't familiar with our work, we're a nonprofit organization focused on digital product safety testing, and our main effort is generating safety labels for websites and mobile apps. This is an example of a mobile app safety label where we display information relating to an app behavior both observed by an inspector and seen in network traffic. This particular app has the dubious distinction of being the worst app we've inspected to date. Luckily for users, though, it is no longer available in the App Store. We launched these labels in, thank you. We launched these labels in 2023, and they currently focus on reporting the safety and privacy risks in the tech behavior. As of today, we've built out the privacy score, but we have a roadmap of what we're building out over time. We'll be adding dark patterns, which is the autonomy score seen here, as well as security risks in 2026, and then automated decision-making risks under the fairness score and discrepancies with the privacy policies and product labels. We have a really audacious goal at ISL to generate safety labels for all mobile apps and websites by 2029. But with this comes some challenges. Technology is ever evolving, and app versions are changing constantly. So how can we get accurate, up-to-date data for apps and websites? Not only that, but how can we get inspections from all over the world? How can we understand app behaviors in different areas of the world with different regulations? And really, there's two main solutions that we've come to: automation and crowdsourcing privacy inspections. And we've been coming at this from both fronts, and Safetypedia is our pilot project where we can train anyone, anywhere in the world to be an ISL certified safety inspector. We started the pilot in 2024, and it's a free program with no cost to participate. The purpose of the pilot is really to look at the viability of crowdsourcing these inspections, to understand if this approach can produce quality inspections, as well as the costs associated with maintaining this program. The pilot will continue through 2025 with a commercial launch in 2026. So how is the pilot going? So far, we've had 25 participants trained in 3 countries. These participants come from a variety of industries, including university students, lawyers, and privacy activists. There's no prerequisite software expertise needed, and in reality, we do see participants with a wide range of software and privacy understanding. Of the 25 trained inspectors, 7 have successfully completed training and are certified safety inspectors. These 7 inspectors have completed 161 app inspections, which included 112 apps which previously had labels and 49 newly tested apps. The 161 apps were responsible for adding 318 new subdomains, 202 new companies, and 2 new SDKs to our databases. Participants in the Safetypedia pilot learn how to perform a privacy risk-focused inspection of mobile apps. They collect privacy-related data using the ISL Safetypedia data collection dashboard. They collect 3 kinds of data about the app: metadata, observed risk app behaviors, and the app network traffic using off-the-shelf proxies. Here we can see an overview of the flow of the process. You'll see this lavender color, which indicates tasks performed by ISL staff, and the teal color is done by our inspectors. To start out, inspectors sign their participation forms and then attend training. So far, these trainings have been one-on-one live sessions, but we are moving towards a self-paced online curriculum. The trainings last about 90 minutes, during which time we train the inspectors on capturing network traffic through a proxy, identifying key observations, including advertising, be it behavioral or contextual, and completing the app inspection form. After training, the inspector is given 2 apps to inspect on their own. And these are apps that we have inspected, and once they're submitted by the inspector, my notes. Once they're completed by the inspector, we can go in and compare our inspection to what the inspector has done to verify that they have an understanding of the process and can produce good results. Once that goes on, it creates what's called an app testing draft by us. And from there, we start to look at the categorization of the app. And this categorization is a process we perform for everything: apps, companies, subdomains, and SDKs. If the app fits into our current categorization, we move on. Otherwise, we create a new category, subcategory tuple. Next, we dive into the network traffic and SDKs. We research the subdomains to identify companies as well as their purpose. Again, we perform that categorization and generate new taxonomy when needed. This process is the most involved because of how nebulous the relationship between companies is. Companies being acquired, merged, turned into products. It's difficult to chase down the ownership to a legally responsible party. For every google.com, which is easy to identify, there's 10 wistfulpirates.net that are harder to chase down. We perform this for every subdomain and SDK that we come across. And once that's done, we can generate risk scores for the companies, which then inform the risk scores for the subdomains, SDKs, and finally apps. Once we have risk scores for everything, then we can generate a safety label, and finally the inspector can see the fruits of their labor. Our goal is to have these labels instantaneously generated once an app testing is approved. Currently, though, we're looking at about a 2-week turnaround from the time an app testing draft is approved to label generation. And this is again because of how time-consuming it is to manually generate the data that goes into scoring these things. So with that, we're going to do our findings, and I'll hand this over to Lisa.
Thanks, Bryce. So I get the fun part to talk about the challenges and the successes. So 2 big challenges, and one that Bryce has hinted at. We underestimated the impact of the effort of doing the manual data collection and the data processing. And then the other big area that kind of threw a monkey wrench in us is that at the same time we were doing this and launching this pilot, we were rescoring everything. We were coming up with a new privacy risk rubric. And that turned out to be a lot more complicated than we anticipated. As Bryce mentioned, it's this area when we talk about the manual data processing, it's all of this, which is really everything, almost everything that happens after the inspector hits the submit testing button. So there's a lot of manual stuff kind of behind the scenes working to make the label happen. I think, though, even though I say the first thing here is that we underestimated the impact of the manual data processing, I think the bigger issue was how we went about it. When we first started this, we decided that we were just going to filter out all the new companies and new SDKs, new subdomains that we found within an entire batch of apps. And we thought, oh, that's smart, we'll just focus on that. Losing that app context, though, was a really bad idea. And it caused us to really lose some of the holistic view of the app, and it actually created a big time delay. So you can see here that our very first batch of only 70 apps took us about 11 weeks. And that's, I like to say the first pancake, right? The first pancake is always kind of gross. So this was kind of, extra, maybe challenging. So we decided we're not doing that again. We're really going to maintain that app context so that we're looking at the app, everything in the app, whether it's new companies, new third parties, or existing ones that we already have in our database. We need that context. And so that's how we're going forward. We absolutely need more automation, particularly around company data. We do, as Bryce mentioned, there's a lot of heavy lifting with trying to figure out, is this really a registered company, or is this just, some kid in a garage somewhere? Like, what's going on? It takes a lot of manual effort to do that. So we are looking to do more technology transfer with universities, as well as partnering with other organizations that have this kind of data and struggle with these same issues that we do. Shifting over now to this fact that we were rescoring everything. So why do we rescore everything? 2 reasons. All the talks yesterday about all the magic of taxonomizing with OpenAI and Meta, well, we're a very small organization. There's like 5 of us. We do all of our taxonomizing manually. And so we taxonomize companies, SDKs, apps, subdomains, everything gets taxonomized. We decided last year that we were going to consolidate into a single taxonomy, one taxonomy to rule them all. Jury's out as to whether or not this is a good idea. I mean, it's working so far, but we'll see. It was a huge effort. It took a lot of time to do that, to really, consolidate into a single one that made sense for everything. The other key thing that we had learned in this process is that roll-up app scoring is particularly difficult. We had started with the traditional risk scoring of impact times likelihood, but if you have high likelihood and low impact, or vice versa, you lose all of that in a rolled-up risk score. So we decided that we wanted to really revisit how we did the scores in general for apps. And in the process of doing that, we rescored everything. As Bryce mentioned, the app score relies on all of the companies that are implicated in that app, whether it's SDKs or subdomains. So we keep getting smarter and we keep peeling the onion. And so here's a little bit of our evolution of our privacy risk score. In 2021, we started with just looking at the SDKs that were declared in the source code and the apps. And this is cumulative. These things aggregate over time. In 2023, we added the observation of how many aggregators were in the apps. And that was a designation that we came up with. Loosely speaking, you can think of them as gatekeepers from the EU definition. And then last year, we factored in all of the network traffic, all of the third parties observed in the network traffic. And that was a big deal. Next year, we're adding in what are the data elements that are being shared with those third parties. So you can see this evolution keeps going. And do we keep having to pull the rug out from underneath the users with our app scores? And the answer is maybe yes. We might continue to refine as we go. The successes that we've had, the inspection quality has been generally high, very high quality. And I pester Bryce at least once every 2 weeks saying, are you sure? Because I always thought they're going to have apps running, other apps running, we're not going to be able to trust it. But the quality is actually quite high, and that's very reassuring. The other thing is that everybody has been able to accomplish this. People come in feeling a little bit, cautious about, I'm not technical, I'm not going to be able to do it. They all can do it. We have a couple outstanding questions that remain to be seen. When we named this Safetypedia, we really had a vision for creating a worldwide community of people who care about safety and privacy in apps. And do we think that this can be such a community? So far, cautious optimism. It's still early days in the trial, but yes, we think we can, and we'll continue to watch that. And then we still continue to watch, will we always need human testing for these apps? The current hypothesis is that yes, we will always need humans to run these tests, but we'll continue to monitor that as we build out more and more automation. And if you would like to participate in this, we are happy to invite you. You can contact us at any means you want. Here's one email that you can reach us at. And thank you so much for your time.